I always wait to unmute you until the last second, so you're fine, fucker. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Wannabes podcast, where I'm Morgan, and that's Luke. Sadly, we have no Dreaded with us tonight. He's a little under the weather, but I do see him lurking in chat, so hello, Dreaded. Hope you're feeling
With us
better.
in spirit.
Yes, indeed. But with that being said, everybody, we are diving into a film that actually came out back in 2024 because, as y'all know, it's the quiet season right now. There's not a lot going on right now. I do really want to see The Last Breath, though.
I mean,
And
I really want to see the monkey. You know, I'm an Osgood Perkins fan now.
I have heard awful things.
I've heard good things.
I've heard nothing but bad things, like really bad.
You know, maybe someday. It is what it is. There's always a couple where we're like, Actually, you know what I really want to watch is fucking Daredevil. So.
Me too. Me too.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah. Okay. Real quick, this guy decides to message me at like 10:30 last night, being like, "Hey, you want to switch a show to Daredevil?" And I was like, "Bro, I already watched the movie you mentioned."
I thought the two-episode premiere. No, seriously, I thought the 2-episode premiere was tomorrow, right? So I was.
I did too, because it is usually Wednesday, so I thought it was tonight.
I was ready to hunker down on a Thursday, and end my night, maybe light up a J and fucking watch that shit. That was going to be my night. And then I just happened to go on it, and it was the first thing that popped up on Disney, because I think I was going to watch the original show. I went, just and then I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, the 2 episodes are out. I was like, if I would have known this.
Fair. But no, that's fair. But
I'm still very happy.
We'll have that discussion soon, for sure.
Yeah, no. we didn't make a bad choice with this one, so that's cool.
Yeah. Honestly, so for anybody who doesn't already know, we're going to be reviewing tonight the 2024 Netflix film Ultra Rising. It is an animated film. This is not a live action. What did I say?
Ultra Rising.
Wow, Ultraman. I even took a nap before the show. What the hell?
I'm here. I got you.
Thank you.
We're in this together.
Yeah. But yeah, so that'll be a fun one to dive into. It was animated, not live action. I honestly was expecting it to be live action, just because I haven't heard of Ultraman in a long time. So I was like, oh no, is this some cheesy like live action? I was happy to see it was animated.
But God, I'm ready to get into it, because Ultraman is slowly becoming one of my favorite things. Like, I saw Shin Ultraman. I think we reviewed it on the show when it came out years back. We had special guest Calvin at the time.
Yeah, I don't think I was a part of that one. I think I was just part of the show.
I think it was Breon, Calvin, and me. I gotta get, maybe Anthony too, but I gotta get Calvin back in touch for some shit, because he's usually fringy like that with this stuff. And like, Shin Ultraman was phenomenal. That was my introduction to Ultraman. Love that movie. Got into this, and I'll just leave it right there until we actually get to the review.
Yeah. So everybody, as usual, we're gonna talk about some news, because there's a lot of news that happens in this entertainment industry. The big topic for tonight, though, is the 97th Academy Award winners, so the Oscar winners that just happened over on Sunday. So we're not gonna go through all of them. You can find the winners everywhere. We'll be here all night if we want to give you our thoughts on every single winner. But
we have a show where we do that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No
shots. Just saying.
But so a couple of things that I wanted to discuss is that we have an actor in a leading role. The winner who took that was Adrien Brody for The Brutalist. It's been like 20-something years since his last win. So he had a very nice speech, a really beautiful speech that actually he told the people who were starting to play the wrap-up music. He was like, hold the music. I've been up here before. Give me a second. I'm wrapping up. But he had a really beautiful speech as somebody who's gone through not getting a lot of roles to then finally getting his way back into the industry again. So if you haven't seen it, maybe go check out his speech somewhere.
He's got an interesting career. He's definitely gone from being like a name to not so much to now he's becoming a name again. I don't know what the man does to do that, but like, he's good. He's good in pretty much everything that I've seen him in.
Yeah, I've always liked Adrien Brody. I thought he's always been really good. Sorry. Yeah. Bro, I can't tonight.
You're good.
Anyway.
We're going to get there.
Adrien. I love Adrien Brody. Not whoever the hell I said.
Yeah, no, I do too. And The Brutalist looks like an interesting movie, but it's just one of those, for me personally, it's like, I got to be in the mood. I'm not like, we're going to get there in a second, but like, there's movies and then there's like Oscar movies, and depending on your mood, you like, it's something that I got to be ready for. And The Brutalist looks like that kind of movie. So I'm sure it's phenomenal. I'll watch it later.
Yeah, I will say in general the winners for like the nominated titles and the winners for this year's Oscars is like them moving back to the old school Oscar nominations and winners compared to the
I,
last few years. Because we are getting a lot more pieces, I suppose, like films that are fitted to their old style of choosing films.
cinema.
Yeah. But real quick, I wanted to also, since we mentioned the leading actor, the leading actress was Mikey Madison for her role in Honora. And I mean, I'm just gonna say it now, Honora also took Best Picture of the Year, which was really surprising to me. I don't know her very well as an actress. I've seen her in a few things, but I haven't seen her in a whole lot.
She's in
Um,
Scream 5. I like her in that. So that, like, for
yeah.
me, that's
I
been
think that's
fun
the one I know her
because
the most from.
yeah, she's the only Ghostface to win an Oscar, so that's cool. But we talked about it off camera because like the problem that I have with this year's Oscars is like Nosferatu for me should have won a few things.
Yeah, like
Um,
Honora also took best directing.
yeah,
It like I'm trying to find the one that it took film editing. Like I would have thought that would have gone to something else. I'm trying to find where it what Nosferatu was nominated for makeup and hairstyling, but it went to the substance,
that
which
makes sense.
that's fine. Costume design, we had Nosferatu going up against Gladiator 2, The Complete Unknown, Conclave, and Wicked. I knew as soon as Wicked went on the screen when I saw Wicked that Wicked was taking the win for costume design. I'm not
There's no fucking
surprised.
way. There's no way. But I get it.
There is a lot more. Honestly, there was a lot more complexity to the costumes in of Wicked than Nosferatu. Nosferatu is a lot more period pieces where there's a lot more like that. Not that there wasn't detailing in Nosferatu's costume design, there just was even extra, even more in Wicked because of all the different like palettes and fabrics and all the craziness, right? I'm scrolling through the winner, so I'm trying to find what Nosferatu won because I do know it won something. Where
Yeah,
is
like
it?
best production or something, set design or some shit.
Production design went to Wicked, which it went up against The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, and Nosferatu. Um, where is it? No surprise, Dune Part 2 took sound design. Visual effects was also Dune Part 2. Where the heck is the winner? The one that Nosferatu won, because I know it won an award, because it was one of the ones I was looking for. I'm starting from the top. Maybe I scrolled too fast. Where are you?
I don't see it.
It must have just been nominated. It may not have actually taken any wins.
Very possible. Was nominated for best cinematography, best production design, best costume design, best makeup and hairstyling. But I mean, like horror movies usually get the shaft anyway. But it's nice that it was nominated. 4 Oscar nominations is pretty huge. I'll debate later what it should have won as opposed to didn't. You know what I mean? But like that is that's a phenomenal movie, man. I know the substance is getting a lot of praise, and I know what Wicked is, and obviously the Honora, I get it. But like, man, you got to show some love for what Nosferatu did. I'm just saying, horror film or not, that is a phenomenally made film, right? Like we can get into the story elements and everything else, but like that, those scenes, the cinematography alone on the fucking crossroads in
Yeah,
the winter,
that's
like,
one of
oh
my
my
favorite scenes.
god, yeah. So filmgasm. Uh, but somebody's got to get snubbed. And Nora, like we said off camera, like what we haven't even heard of it. Like I know
Yeah,
the
so
main actress
Yeah,
because of
so
Scream, but
Honora,
like,
just because I just pulled up the synopsis, Honora is a young woman from Brooklyn, gets her chance at a Cinderella story when she meets and marries the son of an oligarch, specifically a Russian one. Once she reaches Russia, her fairy tale is threatened as the parents set out for New York to get the marriage annulled. I know she's a former stripper who marries like this really high echelon like Russian guy, and
yeah,
I'm just surprised that just off of synopsis, obviously we haven't watched it. I don't think that was a winner for the
I
Oscars.
I look, I'll watch it eventually. I will. I'm
Yeah,
not I'm not trying to
I will
shit on this
now.
movie. it's the dark, gritty version of Pretty Woman
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
based off that synopsis. But
That's
like,
fair.
hey,
That's fair.
I'm sure it's honestly, I'm sure it's phenomenal. It's just one of those things we talked about off camera. The nominations are probably to help it get a little bit more boost, get a little bit more word out there because like I don't deny the fact that if it wins, especially Best Picture, like it has to be a good movie. How good?
Absolutely. It has to be, yeah.
We'll see. But like it has to be a good one. So all right, whatever.
So, I have another piece of news because we could talk all night about the Oscars. We're not going to do that to you guys. You can find people talking about it everywhere, but we just
I
wanted to touch
refuse.
on it. You know, we wanted to touch on it because it is a major thing of the industry.
Yes.
But moving on to something that's a very interesting turn for the industry, there is actually a partnership happening between Amazon Prime and AMC movie theaters. So Amazon Prime members can now enjoy free movie screenings at AMC theaters as part of an exclusive Prime premiere promotion. The offer includes complimentary tickets for a Prime member and a guest to watch Amazon original movies and series, along with a small popcorn and drink for each person. So, to claim this deal, members must reserve the tickets and seats at primepremiere.amazon 1 week before the screening. This limited time perk gives Prime subscribers a chance to experience exclusive content on this big screen at no cost. I tested the link. It is legit. Everything is good, by the way. I did make sure of that before I talked about it on the show tonight. But I thought this was interesting.
This deal. Can you hear me? All right, there you go.
You just started talking. Can you start
All
over?
right. Yeah, I'm confused by this deal, and like I was wondering the whole time you've been speaking. I was like, is this like an exclusive rights thing? Which it is, but you're giving the tickets away for free. Like, what does
Yeah.
that? What does that do for AMC? I mean, it puts butts in
So
the seats, but like you're not.
realistically, for somebody who's done stuff for for partnerships with other brands before, like for like when I
Sure.
worked at the radio stations and stuff,
Yeah.
Amazon Prime is basically probably forking the bill and paying AMC to be able to do this.
Outright, you
Um,
think?
oh yeah, absolutely. I
I
wouldn't
just
be
it's like
at least I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment of like pricing because more than likely they're like, okay, people are gonna come in, they're gonna get a free popcorn and drink, but
even a
you
small
know,
popcorn is like
a
fucking
small
$8,
well the
man.
thing is like a small popcorn ain't big though. Like I want a fucking bigger popcorn. Like
Right, but it's expensive. So
yeah,
I'm not.
no,
It
for
ain't
sure.
even like about
But
the. You
some
know, it's
people,
that.
because I'm not paying for the popcorn, maybe I'll go ahead and get myself some candy. Maybe I'll do, there, or maybe, hey, you get these for free, but maybe they'll give you an upgrade charge if you want to upgrade it to a larger popcorn. There might be ways for AMC to still make their money. But I know for a fact that I would almost bet my life on it that Amazon Prime is paying some sort of money to AMC to have their theaters, like to have their shows and movies in the theater.
Yeah, but what is that? I'm just confused by it because the exclusive rights make sense, but then the giveaways and shit, like it just
Yeah.
even if Amazon is footing the bill, which they can absolutely do, that doesn't really do anything for AMC. Like, do you know how many fucking how many subscribers there are to Amazon? Like, that just seems like a missed opportunity here. Now,
Yeah.
if it was you can see AMC original movies exclusively, Amazon original movies exclusively at AMC, that makes more sense. But then, oh, your tickets are free, and we'll give you a $7 small
You know,
popcorn and
I
like an
wouldn't be
$8 small
surprised
drink. It's like,
though.
God damn, what are you
I
doing?
wouldn't be surprised it's free for Prime members, but
Yeah.
they might still have it purchasable for people who are not.
Do you
That
have
could be
Prime?
another way around it. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we'll see, huh?
Yeah, we could test it out. See how it
Yeah,
works.
well, they got to put something out that
If
I want
it's
to go see in the
free,
theater
you know what I
anyway.
mean? So right
Yeah,
now
but
there's
I,
two
but
there's
then
two
here's
upcoming movies coming to theaters. One is with Jason Statham, which is called A Working Man. It looks like it has to
that was
deal
going
with
to be in
human
theaters anyway.
trafficking. And then we also have Find the Accountant with Ben or sorry, The Accountant 2. Sorry, they have like their thing
That
their
was probably
post.
going to be in theaters anyway too. The first one was in theaters. All right,
Yeah.
I'm more
So
confused by this.
but that knowing that both of these were both supposed to probably be in the theaters already makes me think they're doing a fun little thing because this is for premieres. This isn't like I
Okay,
don't think it's every single showing. They're doing special premieres. So like thinking like
Right.
It's a way because they don't have like their red carpet premieres. Like Amazon doesn't have that. This is
Right.
their way of like kind of having a fun way to have a premiere and publicity for the show. Because literally, the website even says there'll be fun photo moments.
Okay,
Like
so again, I'll wait.
it's
I'll
it's
wait.
it sounds a little weird. I'm not gonna
Well,
lie.
cause like it's like it sounds like when we would go to a Marvel movie, right? And you've
Yeah.
got like Chris Hemsworth before the movie comes on saying, "Hey guys, thanks for sitting down and watching the movie." Like, is that my exclusive thing? Are you gonna give me like a 30-second behind the scenes thing? I don't know. But that's why I'm gonna wait and see. I'm thinking the worst here because it just doesn't sound right. Nothing about this sounds like it's benefiting anybody. Other than like all that money's just going to circle, right? Amazon is paying AMC. AMC maybe makes some money, just goes back to Amazon because of tickets. And I don't know, whatever. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll go see Working Man with you if you want.
Yeah, we'll see if it's a legit
I don't
thing
have
that can
Prime, so,
happen.
you know.
We'll see because right now from what I can see here. Let me make this full screen. There's not a lot of stuff where you can like you see like upcoming movies in theaters, but there's no upcoming screenings.
Right.
So I guess we'll just have to wait and see when they're supposed to launch.
Yeah. And when's the last time Amazon put something out on Amazon where you were like, I have to see it? Like, I know we did the Chris Pratt fucking Alien movie, and then I watched Roadhouse, which is fucking amazing for all the wrong reasons. I love that movie. Other than that, like they're not putting anything out where I'm like, man, I really want to see that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah. Well, that's kind of all I had for the news today. It's actually a little bit quieter
Cool.
because most of the news was Oscars related over
Yeah.
since Sunday. So,
I feel slighted
um,
because Nosferatu got boned, but other than that, whatever.
yeah.
What else is new?
Let's see here. So let's go ahead and dive into our movie review. So our movie review tonight, once again, is of the 2024 Netflix film Ultraman Rising. So to talk a little bit about some stats, I don't have a lot of stats because it is an Amazon film. This one doesn't even have
Netflix.
the budget for me.
Netflix. It's
Sorry,
a Netflix movie.
we're just talking about Amazon. God damn it. Uh,
Got you. Still
Netflix.
here. Got you.
This was a 117-minute runtime, so it wasn't a super long film. This did come out on June 14th worldwide, and it was made by, let's get to the studios. This
A
was
Japanese American co-production between Netflix Animation and Tsuburaya Productions with animation
yes.
by Industrial Light and Magic. It is the 44th film in the franchise directed by Shannon Tittle and John Aoshiba in their feature directorial debut. Shannon Tittle co-wrote the script with Mark Hames. The film stars Christopher Sean as Ken Sato Ultraman, along with the voices of Gary Watanabe, Tamlin Tomita, and Keon Young, and Julie Harriman. Not to take over. I'm sorry. I had it up. I'm excited.
No, you're good. I'm just usually used to having more info.
I mean, I am annoyed that there isn't actual, analytical numbers that we can like see and let you know.
I wish we could see like what was the view count,
Yeah,
at launch and stuff like
the
that.
only thing that I have is the fact that it currently sits at 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I mean, like, I liked it.
I did
Ultraman or
too.
not, I enjoyed this. I was surprised how much I enjoyed this.
So
So
I'm gonna start off now. Like I'm familiar with who and what Ultraman is, but I have consumed very, very, very little Ultraman content, and I think this is a really nice, like, modern introduction into Ultraman for people who aren't very familiar with it. I had a lot of fun with it.
by the
Let's
way, for those
see.
that don't know, real quick, Ultraman was created by A.G. Tsuburaya. He's one of the co-creators of Godzilla.
Nice.
Tsuburaya Productions is his studio. So just
Well,
a
it
little fun
works for
fact there.
all the jokes I was making because they're
Listen, if I got
not in
any
a bad
chance to
way.
bring something back to Godzilla, I'm gonna do it. And
No,
like
that's fair.
even in this movie, just to kind of get into it, like the first monster that they show kind of looks like Godzilla anyway. So
Yeah.
like,
There's a couple times I was
oh,
chuckling and I was like, oh man, I'm like, you can feel the Godzilla influence right there. And I didn't
oh,
know
I
he
was
was the
losing it.
creator. I didn't know that they had the same creator, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, he after a while, I think maybe after the first like four Godzilla movies, he branched off, wanted to do his own thing, created Ultraman, his studio, and he
Yeah.
had his own separate career while they continued to make Godzilla movies. So
Okay. Okay, cool.
Ultraman and Godzilla are like neck and neck over in Japan. honestly.
Yeah, yeah. Now it is, I
Awesome.
will say, because it is Bandai has a lot of rights and everything
Yeah.
to Ultraman. And there was some really cool stuff because when I was going to one of the major shrines in Tokyo when I was in Japan for my honeymoon. We actually walked past the headquarters of Bandai Namco, and they have a little mini like floor upstairs that's a little mini like museum, and it has like all the Gundam. It has a bunch of Gundam stuff, and it had a lot of Ultraman stuff as well. So
Yeah, that is on my list, and then to go visit Toho Studios is definitely on there too. It's gonna be
I
sweet.
mean, what's nice is
Someday.
like the Bandai
Someday.
Namco like they like little thing that you can go do takes like give yourself half hour to an hour. That's all you need, and then go hit the shrine down the street
Fuck yeah.
because the shrine has all the shops and everything. It's like one of the really big ones, and it was sick. But
Uh,
anyway,
it's on the list. But I do want to get into this because like I'm a big baseball fan. The main character is a baseball player. Like I don't know if you know or if anybody that's watching this or ends up listening to it later knows Shohei Ohtani. He is the best baseball player on the planet right now. Like there is
I mean,
no discussion. He is literally the Michael Jordan of baseball right now. This
baseball
main
and
character,
soccer is massive in Japan.
oh my god, high school baseball over there is like college football here. It's great. That is also
Yeah.
on my bucket list. Like I want to go to Japan just to watch some fucking baseball. It is insane. But the main character in this movie, Ken Sato, it's Shohei Ohtani. I mean, it's that's it, and it was phenomenal for me to
That's
see
fair.
that. I enjoyed it very much. But the main character is a big time baseball player. He is funny enough playing for the Dodgers at the beginning of the movie, and then he gets moved to the Japanese team, the Giants, and there's a reason for it. It's because he is Ultraman, and he's got to come back and help Japan and help his dad, which
Yeah,
is
which his father was Ultraman but got injured
it,
and
it is
whatnot.
a plot hole that I'll get to later, but it is one of the biggest things I love about this movie. Father son relationships aren't something that I see a whole lot on the big
Yeah.
screen or even on the small screen. It's been coming around a lot more. But I know we reviewed the last Insidious,
Hmm.
not the best, but I really enjoyed the father son aspect and how they
Yes,
tackled that stuff. So I mean,
absolutely.
I gave it glowing reviews for that. Same thing here. I think it's done better here, but I really enjoy that relationship
There's
as
more
somebody,
tension here too.
yeah, and as somebody that really didn't get along with their dad until maybe about within the last like 10-ish years. It was nice to see that stuff. I'm like, man, I got so that was fun. And then like you throw in the aspect with the monsters, which by the way, and you can get to this whenever you want, but the designs of the monsters in here are amazing. I love every single kaiju
The
in this movie.
animation in general was beautiful. It is
Ju-
so well animated.
honestly,
I
honestly though, this
really,
is a
really
very,
enjoyed it.
very well animated movie. And it surprised me because like when I first saw the style, I was like, I don't know. But then once it got in and like the battles and the colors and everything else, I was like, oh yeah, this is working
It's
for me on
it's
every
funny.
level.
I think we got a little bit through it, like maybe 15 minutes into it when I said to Dan, I was like, this animation style is really interesting, but in a good way. Like I was like, it's
Yeah,
really different, but I'm starting to really dig it. And
yeah.
especially when we get to like older Ken when he is Ultraman, like I think my favorite animation is like actually how he physically like human, not Ultraman version of Ken looks outside of the suit. I don't know what it is, but the way they have him move, the way that like they use the coloring to make sure that he stands out in a frame compared to other areas is really interesting. And
It's
I
very
really
fluid.
it's really fluid. So,
Like you're right. It does work. It's excellent to look at. And I mean, there's
it's
a
really
weight to them too. You
there's
know
a
what I mean?
really nice like there is a lot of color and a lot of vibrancy, especially dealing with, our little youngling we're going to talk about probably here shortly. But there is also a lot of dark. They play around with the brightness, like the vivid colors, and then the dark contrast in the like the coloring of the animation. And I love
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. And it works really well thematically when we end up meeting who is our glorified bad guy, who you he's one of those villains where he's a villain with a backstory. Like he's
A little soft.
yeah, like it's one of those things where like you get where he's coming from, but then at other times you're kind of like I don't know. I'll get into him because I'm pissed off about him.
Yeah. Um,
I have an issue with him, but
I do too. But I do like the weight that they give the monsters. Everything kind
yeah.
of like obviously I'm watching an animated movie, but like I could buy that these exist in a world. You know what I mean? Nothing that I saw in this movie, like when we watch, say, Godzilla versus Kong, where we're like, they look a little funky. Everything stayed very consistent. Everything seemed to have some grounded rules for that world. And
Yep.
obviously it's very fantastical, but like,
Mhm.
I totally buy that these monsters exist in this world. And like, um, something that gets missed in the Godzilla movies that we make now is that element of size. Uh, Obviously they're giant monsters, but like the way that they move and kind of carry themselves and stuff, they don't really feel like they're that big. They kind of, they feel small. This movie made everybody feel pretty big when it came to the monsters and the battles, and I like that.
Yeah,
I like
I
I like having them be realistic in that way.
my favorite thing, maybe one of my favorite things is the comparison and the striking difference between when it is the creature in Ultraman versus when it is the creature and then Ken. Like when
Yeah,
he's not in his suit, when he's not using his abilities to be big. And I think that it,
and they
it,
they
it
use that
makes
very well.
they do it very well, and it adds a really nice dynamic where it's not just like, oh, this very super thing. Like, no, they're both massive beings, and they're causing, like, you expect this. You see him, you see the little, her name's Emmy. Well, so I can actually like give her a name. So you see him carrying around Emmy in an Ultraman size. Oh, she's so cute. She's so tiny. And then finally you see her real size, which makes sense knowing what she's the offspring of.
Yeah, she's a small building.
Yeah, she's massive, and it's nice to see, like, also that struggle of trying to learn how to care for that.
Yeah, by the way, Ken Sato has Iron Man money in this movie. Like the dude,
Oh,
my boy is
yeah.
loaded with the shit he's able to do, which makes sense considering Shohei Ohtani is in fact fucking loaded with the shit that he can do with a baseball. It is disgusting. I'll get into that on a different show, but holy fuck. Uh, by the way, my favorite player. Just saying. Um, yeah. So I'll get into what I liked in and out, but it's a lot easier for me to just talk about like the fact that there are kaiju in here, but they're not in here that much. They all look good. And what is it? Is it Gigant? What do they call him? Gigantor? Gigantron? What the fuck
Oh,
is the
guy,
dragon's name?
uh, is it Gigantic? Or no, Gigant.
Gigantron. It is
Yeah,
Gigantron.
Gigantron.
Gigantron is like the big bad kaiju. There's one at the beginning. I think maybe there's a montage where he fights a couple, but it really centers around Gigantron. And Emmy is the daughter of Gigantron. It's a little egg. It's a nice moment. It was pretty sad, but that's all I'm going to tell you. Um, Phenomenal looking monster, but it's not in the movie all that much, which is something that left me a little disappointed about the movie because I'm watching a giant kaiju movie. I want to see more giant kaiju. I'm in it for the battles. Don't get me wrong. The main
Yeah.
story and like the heart of the movie is great, and I like what they did, but God, I just want to see Ultraman fight some people. And that's what I like about Ultraman as opposed to Godzilla is the fact that it is like a human-ish with like fists and
They're
feet.
more relatable.
Yeah, he actually punches monsters, right? It's not just tail whips and like tackles and shit. He's actually like putting fucking chokeholds on a monster, and I dig that. Um, it makes the fights more exciting to me. But I didn't enjoy lack of kaiju, and the main villain of this story is he's got a lot to be desired because he's just there, and his backstory is the same as Ken's. It's the same thing. And
Yeah.
I guess I understand the juxtaposition of how one person handles the situation as to another. I get that. But like, man, if you're gonna do that, can he have a little bit more to do than just kind of stand in big rooms and look menacing? Because that's really all he does up until the end.
And the end part is what pisses me off the most about him. Like, so I do appreciate he has everybody, which, okay, so to get into a little bit more of this villain's backstory, right? He
Well, like
lost his
where
wife and
he's
his
coming
daughter.
from, I get where he's coming from until I get that backstory. Like, if I didn't have the backstory, I think I would like him more because, like,
Okay.
he's in what do they call it? The KDF. It's the Kaiju Defense
Yes.
Force that he is the head of, right? And they are supposed to work in tandem with Ultraman to stop kaiju, except the KDF wants to kill them. Ultraman is there for balance. He's trying to, you're in the city, let me get you out type of deal. I get where the man is coming from until I get his backstory. And the fact that it's the exact same as Ultraman's, I'm like, that's kind of boring because you're not really doing anything. It feels unearned. It feels earned for Ken, even though he kind of has no reason to feel that way. And I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, them having the same backstory and they don't really handle either one very well.
Mm-hmm. So like the thing though is like having this backstory of like he lost his wife, he lost his daughter to kaiju fights, right? And because of like Ultraman failing, um, there's this problem for me where he ends up having his entire KDF team abandon ship, get on the escape pods. Great. That I think is within his moral realm. It makes sense. But then for him to fail and lose the fight and then decide, I understand the thought of like, I'm going to be returning to my wife and my daughter finally, and just like blowing himself up. But the problem is that they made it seem that that explosion was going to be so massive it would even cause issues for the city. So he was just going to cause an explosion that would have potentially done the same amount of damage, if not more damage, that caused the death of it. Like that would have been similar, and taken like wives and children away from other people. That part didn't align with me. Like I actually would have preferred him just to get severely injured and pass away, rather than explosion.
I don't hate the logic, but I do like how they represented that with the waves and shit. And they were showing you just how much damage it's gonna have.
Yeah.
But yeah, it felt a little. I didn't expect Shohei to die. Like there was no way that Shohei Ohtani was gonna die. By the way, that's probably how I'm gonna refer to Ken from now on because that's literally who he is. I didn't expect that to happen. Plot armor. I figured that's what was gonna happen. But yeah, it felt a little too easy. But the buildup was cool. Once they started showing like the race and shit, I was like, oh, what are we gonna do?
We got eventually, and I hate that it was right because when we heard like Project Surrogate, I was like, oh, so are we gonna get a mecha like Mecha Godzilla, but Mecha
always
Gigantron? I was like, well, that was right.
Always.
So
yeah, you always got to get a mecha in your kaiju movie. Always.
But it was interesting because they made it seem like they were dead, like or that they killed the mother to Emmy, Gigantron, but then she's actually alive under the metal and under the mecha suit, which I thought was weird.
Yeah,
I don't hate it, but I thought it was weird.
No, this movie wraps up a little too nicely, considering the emotional high that was that scene when Gigantron dies, and sets up the whole chain of events where Ultraman has to take care of this baby Gigantron because, like, they even say after Gigantron is supposedly dead, that's the last of their kind. Ultraman's whole thing is to keep balance, so we're not going to let a species go extinct. He is obligated to take care of this baby. We went through all that just for the fucking mom to be alive anyway. Like, no, I'm with you. The creature design looked amazing. But I would have much preferred if it was just a mech and it went the way that we thought we were going to go. It's like a twist for twist's sakes, but like, I don't need it. That's
it could have been that like there was another clutch or there was another one alive on the island once you got down to that.
Yeah, Kaiju Island. I'm excited. I hope they do it. I hope they do another one.
I want Skull Island.
Yeah.
Well, they probably will. Did you see that there was an after credit scene?
I did.
Okay.
I did. They're set up. Yeah, no, they're set up.
They're set up for another. Where did Mom go? Oh no. Probably Kaiju Island.
I would have been just as fine if Gigantron stayed dead. Ultraman fights Mecha Gigantron. Everything happens the same way, and then he takes Emmy to the island, and then it's like he has to protect the island type of deal. Totally cool with that. That would have been fine.
Yeah.
Instead, we got a twist that visually, because the fight scene with now Gigantron, Ultraman, and our bad guy, it was cool. It looked great, but like, I didn't need it. And that brings me to another thing. If Dad is so injured, how the fuck is he still withstanding everything that he withstands in that fight? Because don't get me wrong,
he goes through some massive shit.
He takes some heavy shots. Ultra Dad is hilarious. Ultraman with a mustache is fucking phenomenal. Like, just watch it for that. It's great. But like, short little Ultraman who hasn't done anything for probably, I don't know, at least 20 years, at least, and he's injured the way that he is. How the fuck are you still
Yeah, like he
transforming?
has a
How the
leg
fuck are you still
injury.
fighting?
He has a leg injury, obviously, which
Yeah.
I do like that.
He puts up more of a fight than actual Ultraman does at a couple
Yeah,
points.
yeah, I do like though that his injury was used against him in the actual fight with
Yeah,
It was Doctor Anda, right?
I believe so.
Okay. I'm Yeah, Doctor Anda. So like I like that Doctor Anda used that against him because it makes sense. But honestly, the fact that Dad even survived the initial attack from Mecha Gigatron,
Yo.
come on now, he was like unresponsive in a fucking healing tank thing. Like
I get that this
plot
movie is
armor, obviously.
I get that this movie is PG, but like you've got that, like those are great moments, right? Gigantron dying and then you see the egg and shit. Great moment. Them blowing up Ken Sato's house and it looks like everything's been decimated. Like they killed the robot. Why does the robot get to live?
They pulled
The
what,
little
Iron Man
ball,
3?
the little ball. Why the fuck? Yeah, I know, right? Why the fuck didn't they do that? So like they do things, but they don't go all the way. And I feel like it's because it's PG, but who fucking cares? Just do it.
And even with those like couple like little plot holes here and there, like that's a
There are a
stretch.
couple.
That like
Yeah.
that's a stretch, or okay, plot
Even
armor,
for this movie.
whatever. It was still like those are just tiny things. Like that's just to give us something to talk about that the movie could have improved on. Because in
But
all
that
this
sucks
wasn't a
because
really
this is
enjoyable movie.
right, and that's why that sucks because you're doing so good. You're doing so good. Like I
Yeah.
almost cried in a couple moments, and then just
Yeah.
later on, they just went, "Oh, actually, it didn't matter." I go, "Come on, man!
Like
You
that
got me
the
all emotional
moment,
and shit."
like seeing them when they're at the cabin, because there's
That
a
was
moment
cool.
where they're at the cabin and they're having this cute like father son moment around the fire. Emmy's like playing on the beach or whatever. It was a very cute like kind of family bonding moment,
Yeah,
then destroyed by the KDF, and that's how Dad gets knocked out and is not doing well. He's,
they,
they make it seem like he's on death's door, but I
yeah,
love the moment where you see Ken snap. You see this the blue go away in his suit. You see the stress is building up and he actually is like
that is a
hitting
weakness,
down.
by the way.
Yeah, yeah. The
I
stress is his weakness.
yeah,
But you see him hitting down the drones and everything. Like that is a thing that you wouldn't necessarily always see Ultraman do. You always would see Ultraman evade and escape them. This is the first time you really see him finally destroy these drones and these things that have been coming for Emmy. Like this is him going protective dad mode, but also breaking apart because he's seeing his dad potentially dying in front of him. So
it
then,
is.
oh, hey, he's in a thing. He's not doing well. He's in this like almost like the stasis pod. Thing gets blown up. He's gone. No life signs detected. But Dad just effed off in his Ultraman form and didn't like get his son and wake his son up.
Yeah, right,
Uh,
right though. Like what? Yeah, it's that it's like PG darkness. You know what I mean?
yeah,
We just enough, but like that sucks because they do it so well. It's like, man, make the next one PG-13. God damn, I want somebody to die and stay dead. Um, but yeah, they build up a lot of credit with me and a lot of goodwill, and then they just like take it all away. So that's why when I look at the score as an 86, I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess that actually might be a little too much
it's a
potentially.
6.9 out of 10 on IMDb.
That sounds a little bit better. Honestly, that one sounds a little bit better because there's just a couple things where it's like if you just stay with it, this can still be PG,
Hmm.
right? But like, yeah, like
Honestly,
people,
I would
yeah,
even if we made it PG-13, let's say, I would love to see Ken's character actually go through the grief and the stress of like dealing and trying to cope with the loss of his father because like they were just getting their relationship back, and I
yeah.
think that would be a really big pivotal turn for him as also being a caretaker for another being. um so I don't know, I thought that was a really interesting choice, and I think it also would have made maybe the landing of the end credit scene where like Ken's mother somehow reaching out is like, Ken, can you get me, I'm still alive, being like, my father will never get to see his wife again. I think that would have hit so hard if his dad actually died.
Pick, just pick one because before you get to the post credit scene, technically he loses his mom twice because the robot is made after his mom.
Yeah.
So, and I like that dynamic too. That robot is very motherly and like fucking takes care of the little the giant
I
animal
adore
while
it.
my
I
man's
adore
playing
it. She's
baseball.
like,
Oh,
I'm a bad babysitter. Yes, you are.
they teach the fucking kaiju how to swing a bat. That was cool. It gets like a big wiffle ball bat and just smacks shit. That was sweet. But yeah, all the dynamics are cool. We make him lose. He does lose something. It just ends up being the robot. Um,
But like that's
yeah, there's
his dad survived, so isn't she rebuildable?
well,
Like
like it's just if you're gonna make it emotional, right?
yeah.
Why go through all that toil, get us to feel it, and then just be like, actually, I don't know, it didn't
Yeah,
fucking make sense.
I
Yeah,
feel like
bro.
they like I feel like we should have kept either mom stays dead or mom is actually alive, which I expected the entire time because they made
That
hints.
was kind of iffy too,
They made
right?
hints towards, but I was like, this doesn't make any sense. But whatever. I want to know how she disappeared. Then that's where I have the questions about.
Well, yeah, that, and I want to know why Ken has an issue with his dad in the first place, because they show you a scene throughout the movie where Ultraman is fighting somebody and it looks like he gets knocked into their house,
Yeah, yeah,
and
they're
you're
high
thinking,
rise.
yeah, and you're thinking, oh, he might have like smushed him on accident or something, right? And that's how they lost mom. Turns out that's not what happened.
He shielded
Ken,
that.
well, you don't even before that, Ken and mom moved to America, where Ken becomes a baseball star and plays for the Dodgers and shit. And then mom tells Ken, you need to go back to Japan to fucking help out your dad, and then disappears, I guess, somewhere in between there. And then you find out later on with that scene that, yeah, dad, as Ultraman, actually saved them. So, like, what is his beef again?
The biggest beef is just like I guess the absentee, like the absence of his father because he put Ultraman first.
But well, then show me that, because
Yeah,
that's
and I
not what I got
agree
out of that.
because like
You know?
we see Ultraman being a loving father.
Yeah.
We see him then having to leave, making a promise that's probably a promise you shouldn't make because you can't guarantee that promise he made to that he'll be back soon.
Well,
I
like,
expected maybe his dad was gonna die and he had to figure out how to be Ultraman by himself.
yeah, I thought that was where they were going too. And like they at least in that beginning scene, make it seem like Ken, even as a little kid, has an understanding. My dad is Ultraman, he's got a job to do. Awesome.
Yeah.
I get to watch baseball, my dad's a superhero. It's fucking sweet. And then like they show that scene like that's the thing that fucking turned the relationship when it's not. So that was weird.
I'm
That was
assuming
weird.
that's when his father got his injury, though.
I don't know, man,
But
because
then, but
that's
then,
a
but
long
that's a.
time
I was
for
gonna
no
say,
Ultraman.
like, I would understand if that's when he got his injury because he wasn't shielding himself; he was shielding his family, so he was
Mm-hmm.
prone to get the attack. But then, that's been like what 20 years, maybe a little more
Yeah, right.
of like I don't know.
It's just one of those things. It's just one of those things where
They're
you're
like
like, why do you do this?
there are plot
Why?
holes. There are some plot holes,
Yeah.
but in all, a very enjoyable film.
Yeah, well, because it sticks to the landing that's supposed to, right? It's about reconciling your relationship. It's about the father-son relationship, and then you add in how they reconcile the relationship is because now Ken understands, like, you have to balance your work life, you have to balance being Ultraman, and now you're a dad. So like, what are you gonna do?
You know
And
what's
that's what I
funny?
appreciate, how crazy they show him getting because of all the stuff that he has to do. And then to the point where he's like, I have no choice. I have to reach out,
I
which happens to all of
wonder.
us.
Okay, so you have or have not seen Monarch yet?
Not the whole thing.
Okay.
Most of it. I've seen most of it
Have you seen the return of a specific character?
from like the movies.
Mm-mm.
Are we
Like
talking
in
about? We talking about Kurt Russell?
no,
No, I have no idea.
but
Oh, the dad?
no,
I have no idea.
the mom. Like, never mind.
I think I know who you're talking. I know who you're talking about now. No, I haven't seen it. I didn't get that far.
Okay, well, I'm gonna talk. I'm not gonna go into details, but it's interesting because I want to
Yeah,
know. I almost
I
wonder.
need Apple so I can finish it.
I almost wonder though, how in depth does how in depth maybe was this planning for Monarch? Me like, did he have these ideas? This creator of like a storyline like that long ago, but they're bringing it like it just never got to the screen. They're bringing it to the surface for Monarch because right now the vibes I get for Mom are because she's like having like there's no signal. She has a tracker. They can't find her tracker. All of a
Uh,
sudden she's reaching out and this it's like staticky and like I don't know. It kind of feels like she could be on like Skull Island ish that no one can find. And it's almost a weird coincidence just knowing that this is made by the same creator as Godzilla. Like, is that a story point he hadn't jotted down somewhere that he never got to put onto the live screen, and now you're seeing it here?
who's to say?
I don't know.
You
It's
know,
just interesting.
it's tropey. It's tropey,
No,
right?
and
And
that's
again,
fair. That's fair.
I can't speak for Monarch because I haven't gotten there. I don't know how they do it, but for this, like I said, it just feels like we're just doing twists for like twist's sake, which fine, but you didn't need to.
Yeah,
This movie's so good. I enjoy this so much. You don't have to do that. So even with these plot holes, like it doesn't change how I feel about the movie. The movie's amazing.
it's a very good movie. I
It's
really
surprisingly good.
I was expecting when you because I'm not extremely familiar with Ultraman, so you were saying let's watch Ultraman. I was like, fuck it, dude, I'll watch it. Like I'll do that review, but I wasn't expecting something I was going to enjoy as much. So I went in like because I don't know a lot about Ultraman in general. I went in
Yeah,
very not low expectations, but just like kind of no expectations, and
yeah.
came out pleased. It
No,
was fun. It was a good time. I cried. Doesn't take me much, but I cried. Like it was good. It was well done, and I thought the animation was beautiful.
yeah. I mean, and pun intended, the things that it gets right, it knocks out of the park.
Yeah.
The kaijus are amazing. The battles are amazing. Ultraman with what he can do is amazing. Ken Sato is a good character. The dynamic, I said it already. The dynamic between him and his dad is cool. The needing to raise the child is cool.
I'm impressed they didn't go with the trope of him falling in love with the reporter. I
That
think
reporter is another thing. Why is she there?
I think she was there to be like a maternal figure he could like in a roundabout way like ask
I
and talk
guess.
about, but also maybe get comfortable with like talking about his life. Though
Well,
I
yeah.
almost at the end wanted him to have like a freaking like interview with her where he's like, "Yeah, I'm Ultraman."
That's where I thought this was going, right? I thought by the time the movie was over, it was going to be him and her, and like we have a monster daughter and we have a daughter type of thing. And who knows, that could happen in the next one. But like, there's so much like setup for that, and then
I'm
the
surprised they
reporter,
never did anything with it.
right? The reporter just kind of ends up being there. And there's even a couple scenes with some battles that I guess are supposed to be there for tension with the little kid and shit, but like that doesn't go anywhere either. That just kind of like wraps up nicely too. So, why are you here again? All right,
Yeah.
whatever.
I liked her
Not a
character
bad
though.
character, but like it doesn't really add anything, you
Yeah.
know.
Other
And
than him
this
trying to
movie's two
figure out how to
hours
be a
long.
dad.
How long is this movie? 2 hours?
It was an hour and 117 minutes. So that is
Hour 40?
an hour. No, that's 2.5. No, no,
I got it.
that's just under
It's
two
2
hours.
hours. It's an hour
Yeah,
57.
yeah,
It's 2 hours. And like considering all the extra stuff, this movie didn't need to be that long.
yeah.
It didn't.
No,
I
not
don't
at
hate
all.
it though. I don't hate that it was 2 hours, but there's with especially with the reported. So I'm like, I think we might be running a little too long here. Like, can we wrap this up? You know?
See, I
And then
never
they
had it.
do.
I didn't have in the moment issues with the pacing of like the length of time. It is longer than I would expected it to be for an animated film. They usually run around, hour 15 to an hour 30.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest, I think I only feel this way because I started it and then stopped it and then picked
Mm,
it up again the next day. I got an hour in. I thought I was way closer to the end. And then when I went back and saw it, I was like, there's still an hour left? What the fuck? And I enjoyed
gotcha,
it, but that might have had something to do with it. That's why I
gotcha,
was like,
gotcha,
oh, I can really notice that like a couple things might be going a little too long here.
gotcha.
But
That's fair.
it doesn't deter anything because me as a kaiju fan and an Ultraman fan, like it checked all the boxes for me, but it could have been even better.
So I have to ask, because I do not have any Ultraman knowledge. How
Yeah.
does he get his like? Where's his powers from? Is it like something physically? Because it's not the suit from my gathering.
Yeah, so as far as I know, this has nothing to do with like the main canon. It's its
Sure,
own separate thing.
sure.
But from watching Shin Ultraman, which is Shin Ultraman and this and a couple of other things are really my knowledge. they get the powers from an alien that comes to Earth to like help with the balance,
Okay,
right?
okay.
He
Because like
basically
I
inhabits.
watched there's a series, an animated series on Netflix for Ultraman that I watched the trailer to after watching this movie.
Yeah,
And they showed like they were fighting some sort of like alien creature, and I was like, so are they
yeah,
aliens too that just came to Earth? I was just
yeah.
curious. I wasn't sure how he gets their
So
powers.
so
So
because I haven't seen the OG shit, but Shin Ultraman, for reference,
hmm
that main character dies early on in the movie, and then the alien basically takes his likeness, takes over his body, and then there's Ultraman.
gotcha.
But I like how they did it in this. It is something that is kind of passed down. I don't know how exactly, but I do
Genetic.
like
I would
that.
assume it's genetically.
Or yeah, maybe, or it could be like their line was chosen. I don't fucking know, but
Yeah.
I do enjoy that, even though Ultra Dad looks a little silly.
I'm surprised they didn't ever explain it. Not that it
They
needed
could,
to be explained.
yeah. Well,
Um,
this movie definitely relies on you having some knowledge,
sure. But
right? Like
at
the
the
whole
same
thing
time, me
in
going in and not having any knowledge, I guess having enough knowledge of like
it.
beings with powers in movies, like I didn't have any issues with it. I
I'm gonna look
wondered, but I didn't need it for it
Well,
to
I'm
like
gonna
make
look
sense.
silly doing this, but like this whole attack, like that's Ultraman's big attack right there. Is that that's the one. That's like the heat ray for or atomic breath for Godzilla. That's the one. And Ken can't do it until the end, right? So that was a cool little note. Um, but yeah, which was a
I don't
nice. It was a
necessarily know
nice thing.
if Ken couldn't do it or if Ken was keeping himself from being able to do it.
Well, either way, he needed Ultra Dad to help him. They do the thing, but
Ultra
like
Dad.
that's that's the
Sorry.
move, dude. And I didn't even realize that he hadn't done it until they do it. And I went, oh yeah, that's right. He hasn't busted this out yet. And based off of what I've seen in Shin Godzilla, Ultraman has some fucking moves. So like Ken really didn't do that many as far as
Yeah.
Ultraman moves go.
Well,
So
this
it's
is
nice
his
to see
origin
him like
story in a way.
yeah, he's growing into it a little bit.
Yeah.
He's accepting the responsibility, which will give him more power because the whole thing is like with the stress, that's how they depower if they get stressed out. So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
cool to see too.
And
But yeah,
they used it well. In the moments that they used the stress, I think it worked well.
yeah, oh yeah, I felt
Yeah.
it. It's like, oh shit, I'm getting anxious.
But yeah, anyway, I think that kind of covers everything. Again, it is on
I do.
Netflix. If anybody here wants to go and check it out, head on over to Netflix, watch it as soon as we're done here. But before we do, what would you rate it out of
Seven
10?
and a half.
Okay.
7.5, 100%. And it's just because of the plot holes that we mentioned before. They're kind of
Honestly,
glaring.
I'm just gonna pop in real quick. I'm at the same point. I really liked it.
Yeah.
I'm a 7.5, and the only reason it's not higher is because of those plot holes. So,
Yeah. The stuff that
and
does great,
that's
it does
somebody
great.
who knows very very little about Ultraman as well. So
No, I hope they do
you
more.
have more Ultraman knowledge than I do. So
No, I hope they do more because this is slowly becoming one of my favorites, and like I'm getting a new appreciation for this. I've known of Ultraman, never really watched it. Shin Ultraman, phenomenal. This, so I'm not gonna. I have to watch it back to back to compare, but this one is also very good. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next. I know there is a show on Netflix. Maybe I'll check that out, and then hopefully this gets a sequel because I would love to see where this goes next.
yeah, me
Shohei
too.
Ohtani's Ultraman, I am down. There
Well,
you go.
as a reminder, everybody, if you are not already following or checking stuff out, head on over to this link. Support Luke's movie that he's working on right now.
Please,
It's currently in
pretty please.
production. It is a feature length horror film, and even if you can't financially help, share the word, spread the link. You know, every little bit helps. But
Yeah, it really does. I would
yeah,
appreciate it very much.
yeah,
Appreciate all of you.
we can't wait to be able to share even more about it as things get further underway. So
Yes.
it'll be super exciting.
Should be
But
nothing but updates from here on out. But you
yeah,
know.
who knows? There might be maybe one day we get to do like a showing of it, and maybe
Oh fuck, that'd be wild.
here gets to win tickets if that ends up happening. So
I'll let you guys review it. I don't want to be on that show.
no. I mean like a showing like because it's like if you do a premiere showing at the local theaters.
Oh no, we totally are.
Yeah,
That is definitely in the cards. So if you're
we give
in,
away some tickets. Who knows? Let's
yeah,
see.
if you live in the
Here's a
Michigan area,
pair.
yeah, that's come on,
Anyway,
be a part.
with all that being said, everybody, thank you for watching and helping support us as well. Once again, that's Luke. I'm Morgan, and we're the hosts of the Wannabes podcast. We've been doing this for, gosh, 5 years now, just over now. So crazy times, and we're constantly working on growing and getting stuff out there on other platforms for you. And with that being said, you can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Spotify, you can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky. Did I miss one? Facebook,
Yeah,
Instagram,
Twitter,
Twitter,
Instagram,
Blue, and
Facebook,
Blue
Blue
Sky.
Sky,
Yeah,
YouTube,
yeah,
Spotify.
YouTube and Spotify. So yeah, head on over there. On our social medias, you will be able to follow us and know when we're going live, or if we happen to have a show that's not happening, and also what we're reviewing. That way you can be a part of it. But we're gonna do one different thing today, guys. We're gonna actually raid somebody, and that is because we've had her on the show a couple times before for reviewing the Borderlands movie, reviewing Five Nights at Freddy's. I know she can't wait to be back on for future shows once we have a movie that's coming out that she really wants to see as well. But that is French Kitty, also known as KP over on Techeries with me. But yeah, it is her birthday today. Her and Luke are like birthday buddies because Luke's birthday is tomorrow. But yeah, so happy birthday to you, Luke, early from me in the chat. And then also happy birthday to Kitty. We are going to raid her, which is different. So stick around. If you're on YouTube and want to raid Kitty, hop on over to Twitch and join us. She's live right now with the beginning of her birthday stream that's running all week long. So yeah. But for now, everybody, we'll catch you next time. We can't stay on our socials. We can't wait to tell you what we're reviewing next. And don't forget the popcorn. And stick
Do
around for
not.
that raid. Peace out, everybody. Okay, we're good. Once we're on ending stream, I'll let the raid go. I know she'll be tickled. I'll go over to her chat and like type in happy birthday and everything. Yeah, it'll auto go on. Here, I'll go right now. Cute.